Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Voice of Houston right here at UHN-TV. I'm Dr. Clara Brent, your host, and with Dr. Bobby Mills, your co-host. Well, Doc, we having a hard time right here in Houston, aren't we? Especially with our schools.
Yeah.
And the superintendent that they sent in, I don't know, he seems as if he has no feelings or understanding about how hard it is to keep teachers, less alone giving them a hard time by having them to reapply, go through the same thing that they went through 10, 15, 20 years, maybe 30 years ago. And really we have teachers that we're looking for to put in the schools, and he's giving an incentive of $85,000, but that does not mean that they will be hired back into the position that they are in now. So he could have kept that $85,000 out of the picture, period, and not even carry those teachers through that situation that's going on, that will be going on if they decide that they want to stay in the district, because there are other districts looking for teachers, experienced teachers, and Houston Independent School District has experienced teachers. And then I'm also upset again about closing down historical black schools, high schools. Barbara Jordan finished from Wheatley.
Mickey Leland finished from Wheatley.
Mickey Leland finished
Harold
from Wheatley.
Dutton finished from Wheatley.
All these, and they can't see that the state is trying to close down the black schools.
Ivy Hilliard finished
all of those finished from predominant black schools, and they were predominant good leaders as for the race of our race, at least. And I believe that is
I think
an agenda that's trying to be set forth, and it should not be.
Well, we know that the superintendent that came in from Dallas on an interim kind of basis, he's on a mission
To close down the school district.
and
That's the mission.
we superficially can see what the mission is, but underneath the mission there's another mission.
What is it?
And obviously the mission is to resegregate public education.
That's it. Exactly right.
Because once you start talking about vouchers and people being able to go to private and charter schools, and the money follows the child, and all that kind of thing and so forth. It's a concern.
Bullcone. That's bullcone.
It's a concerted effort to dismantle the public educational system.
Exactly.
Now we all know that public education is a necessity in relationship to the health and well-being of a democratic society. That's why the founders created a mass universal educational system. You can't have a democratic society that's based upon human rights and human dignity without having educated individuals. And we know that the dividing line in politics is education. We can see very clearly who has what kind of political philosophy about American society and what party they identify with the level of education that they have. Primarily now, unfortunately, most of the whites who identify with the Republican Party, they are your non-college educated whites. And it's easier to have working class whites feel that they are being misused, abused, and not granted and accorded the kinds of privileges that they've had in the past based on just being white.
Right.
And that's why, the signs were up as the line of demarcation. If
colored only.
Yeah, right. So we know that you have a mass universal education system because the founders knew you can't have a democracy-oriented society, especially that's multicultural, if you don't have educated people who got some common sense.
The point of the matter is that if you don't keep up educational-wise, you're going to be behind national-wise with other countries.
Right.
They're going to outpass us. The reason why we were, when I say us, I'm speaking of the United States. The reason why the United States has gained so much power is because of education.
Right.
And the knowledge and using that knowledge.
And we've had one of the best educational system. That's why a lot of people from other foreign countries come here and go to our universities and colleges to obtain an education.
Then why kill that? Why you want to kill that? You want to kill this democracy? You want to kill the thing that you love and have received? Can you imagine that?
Well, you want to kill the thing that has made you great as a society.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what they're trying to do, is kill it.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna hurt. Yes, it will hurt. It's gonna harm. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna harm. It's not only
the entire society,
the whole society, not just a certain segment of the society. And it seems, I don't know why they are so set. Why are these Republicans and some parts of the Democrats are so set in destroying the black society that's here in America? I mean, the black, we are being targeted. For what? We're not even the majority anymore.
Well, we have never been the majority, we may have been the majority.
The majority of the minority.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We were the majority minority.
Yeah,
a group of people in society.
Anymore. So why are you trying to destroy the people that helped build this country? Not only from the sweat of their brow and hardships and whippings and disgrace and
the reason why is because you are no longer useful.
What you mean we're not useful?
They don't need you.
Why? They don't need us.
Because the system now...
We still got the people that have the...
No, because the system now...
Is what?
Is based on science and technology. They don't need physical common labor anymore. They got people that they can get to come across the border with work visas and so forth and pick the crops. They don't need you to do that. Now it's all about technology.
Well, you understand
science and technology.
You understand that black people not only could do that, but we have many inventors that invented a lot of things here in the United States.
No question about it.
No doubt about that. And
but now
would have even been bigger, better, if we had a proper education that we deserved.
But now
we still succeeded.
But now, see, you have a larger percentage of other ethnic and racial groups going to undergraduate school and graduate school and professional school than you have blacks.
Why?
See, the society...
You understand why why they are not there?
Well, see, that's...
I hope everybody understands it.
We can't blame it all on white people.
Oh, no.
And we can't blame it all...
I'm going to blame it all on the white people.
And we can't blame it all on the system.
I'm blaming it all on the system. I'm blaming it all on the white people. I'm blaming it all on most of the white people. I'll put it that way.
Well, a lot of it is our fault, too. Some of it is our fault, too, as black people.
Because look at... They broke up?
Well, right. Because look at what we are participating in terms of the breakdown of our own family systems. Look at what we're participating in relationship to the way our churches function. You know, our churches used to function as the center of communal life. And our churches have turned inward in many instances to not serve the larger community, but to serve the pastoral leadership. So we got our own internal problems that we need to address before we can externally address the problems that affect us. That's the problem we have. We got to clean up our own front yard before we can go and try to start cleaning up somebody else's backyard. Well, we got some internal problems that we need to address and deal.
Internal problems.
Not the way we have now, though.
Well, we've heard it.
Look at
we do it. We
right. Look at black on black.
All those things happen because we have been.
We participated in self-hatred.
Heard it into hurting each other and disrespecting one another, and all those things but that happens in all races of people.
We can't do anything. The problem is, Dr. Prince, we can't do anything about what happens in other races of people. The only thing we can do is address what's going on with us, and I'm saying that we're not addressing internally what's going on with us. We can't correct what's going on with Hispanics. We can't correct what's going on with white people. We can't address that. Mm-hmm. But we ought to be able to address what is going on with us as a race of people.
So you're saying, Doc, that we need to go back to the old landmark. That's
right.
Church.
We need. There you go. We need
go back to church and get back involved into the community. The church is not involved in the community per se. There, especially the larger ones, are not involved in the community. We have smaller churches that we pass out different things during holidays, like
and the
churches and things like that. But that's not what we're supposed to be after. We're supposed to be after the togetherness, where we come together, we reason together, and that was the center point. The church was the center point for that.
Focal point of communal life.
For our community to survive. That's what it was.
You know, it was our economic system.
Yes, it was. And we just have to go back to that old landmark, y'all, and go back to church and stop looking at church on television. Where we can get involved in helping our young people, our children.
And stop looking at what you think the system...
And think what we can do, because we know that who is in charge of the United States. We understand who's in charge of this country. And the part of the matter is that how we're going to survive with their prejudice, their misunderstandings, and their way of life. We have to learn how to survive that all over again. We're going to have to go back to not stealing from each other, start helping one another, start trusting each other, and stop trying to minimize the fact that we are all in the same boat. And it's no difference whether you're a billionaire, millionaire, or no-naire. We're still all in the same boat. We got that same color. Might be different tans of color, but we are different colors. And we should fight for the right.
Well, Dr. Brent, it's not about the skin, it's about sin.
Well,
and
yes,
so
too, but the skin is the most important thing. It's the thing that's causing us to have
that's the whole problem.
It's the skin, because
it's the sin, not the skin.
If it's the sin, who is sinning?
All of us.
Okay, all of us sinning.
To varying degrees. But the point I'm trying to make, Dr. Brent, is this. We can't worry about what's going on in the White House or what's going on in central government, the United States government, or what's going on in Austin, or what's going on in City Hall. We have to be concerned as individuals, what's going on in your house? It's about what is going on in your house.
What do you mean by that?
Because, well, what I mean by that is you have control.
Enough about your own house, and then you still miss.
No, you have control over what goes on in your house. Mm-hmm. You have control over that.
Right.
You don't have control over what's going on in the White House.
Well,
you don't have control over what's going on in the State House.
Well, we can participate in it.
But you can participate in the process by voting.
That's true.
And knowing what to vote for and who to vote for.
That's true.
But the main thing is your house and what's going on in your house and how you and your family deal with each other and how you and your family members get along with each other, cooperate with each other, support each other, love each one other, and all of those kinds of things that make for godliness rather than devilishness. So we don't need to be concerned about politics in that way. Because when it comes, well, you know, we are, because we keep thinking about.
So a lot of black folks don't even go vote. Whole bunch of
well, but most of us will vote, and most of us registered to vote.
Well, we got some youngsters.
A lot of times
not voting either. From 18
well,
to 40.
but again, that relates to what? Your own house. I'll give you a good example.
So that the own house is not.
I'll give you a good example. See, the basis of every society is the family unit. Everything stems from family. Every institution in society comes out of the family,
right.
Whether it's education, whether it's politics, whether it's economics, etc. And when that family system breaks down, your society breaks down. Because now all society is a conglomerate of different family units. That's how society is.
Of course.
Now, what has happened to us is that we shifted the paradigm. We were a people because the system was structured against us in such a way that there were visible signs that the white people put up saying white only. So you knew structurally that the system was against you externally. So you couldn't live from the outside to the inside unless you wanted to go crazy.
Get killed.
There you go. More than likely get killed. Mm-hmm. So you had to learn to live spiritually from the inside to the outside.
Exactly. We would have been killed.
So we were a much more productive, healthy, vibrant group of people because we were more in touch with God. We were more in touch with that God force within us.
Exactly.
Which allowed us to even endure the pain and the suffering and all the denigration and all the mess that white people were heaping upon us.
Yes.
We could survive that.
Because we had a God.
Conscience.
A God conscience. Exactly.
And we were living the way God intended for us to live.
Yes.
Live from the inside to the outside because, you know, the world didn't give you what? The joy.
Joy didn't come from the world.
You know, because God is not an external, you know, God. God is an ontological being that is a part of your very existence.
Inside of you as well on the outside.
And so consequently, what happened to us is once the white people took the signs down,
we thought we were all right, didn't we?
Yeah, we said, oh Lord, you know,
we ready now.
You free.
We free, really free.
But you was free and didn't know you was free
in the beginning.
in the beginning.
Yes.
Just like the movie Roots, when Kunta Kinte said, "Hey, look here, shoot, I've been free all along because I'm running,
and
I've been running from this bull cone y'all dealing with since you brought me over here from Africa. So consequently, you can cut my foot off, and in my mind, I'm gonna still be running from this bull cone you dealing with." But we got away from all of that, and the next thing you know, when you start living from the outside to the inside, you're going to get selfish, confused, low down, dirty, mean-spirited. You're going to do any crazy thing.
Yes.
You'll kill another Negro before God get the news over a pair of tennis shoes.
Exactly.
Look at what happened to those kids that went to the Galleria, and this kid had a pair of Michael Jordan.
And they wanted the shoes.
They wanted the shoes, then they killed them to get the shoes.
To get the shoes. Isn't that shit? That's so
insane.
It's sad. Very sad. And we need to wake up as a state of
we can't
state of being.
Keep looking at the system that whites have designed to dehumanize you and be against you, and think that somehow they're gonna free you.
No, you can't overcome.
How you gonna be freed?
That comes against you with only God.
Right. That's the whole point. How you gonna be freed by a system that went to Africa and brought your ancestors over here and enslaved them and had them to build the infrastructure of this great nation?
Yes.
And consequently still try to dehumanize you, simply
it all. Even after they had
keep you at the bottom of the totem pole.
Still want to do it. Still want to do so. Don't feel any remorse on how.
And it's not about them. Look here. Let me tell you something. I'm old enough to know when I grew up, I didn't think about white people. I didn't think about them. I thought about what I needed to do for myself. I didn't waste my time thinking about no white people.
I think all of us did that. I think all of
that's
us
what I'm saying.
Up in that time period from they call us the baby boomers. But anyway, those of us that grew up in that time period, that means that we were more interested. Our parents are more interested in us getting an education and us doing better for ourselves, us doing things for ourselves, not depending on anyone else.
And not even your own parents.
Not even your parents, because that sometimes.
And then once you were able to
hit the road to the college or somewhere, get a good
once
job
you were able to think your way out of it, work your way out of it.
Exactly.
You look back and try to help your relatives.
You tried to help each other. You even helped your neighbors.
Back and help your parents.
I can remember when we didn't even have to worry about locks on the doors and
the first thing,
television cameras on the outside
and all that kind of foolishness.
We didn't worry about none of that. We looked out for each other.
Right.
Especially neighbors looked out for
neighbors.
That
communal. You had that communal spirit
thing, and most of the time, all of the time, it's going to be the door open. We'd be out of town. The door was still open because somebody might need something out of the house.
Right.
And the door was open and they looked out for you, for each other. And even though, Miss Brent, we got so-and-so and so-and-so.
Right.
We'll pay you back next month. That's the way it went. And each other, and it didn't dawn on us about civil rights and all that. We knew that we were kept out of the drugstore, what you call it, the little counter where you go and sit and you get your malt and your ice cream and blah, blah, blah. Knew we couldn't do that. We knew that was out of the question. But we always had our little get-togethers at home with the ice cream.
Yeah.
Homemade ice cream at that, because we weren't able to buy out of the store too often,
and could make it real good too.
And crank up, and all the neighbors come by,
put that salt on that ice,
and had the knee-high soda water. And then if somebody think about putting a pit out there, and before you know it was a big time party.
Yeah.
And now we are not that.
Communal.
Yes. Yeah. That's it.
We're not communal.
We're not that, because half of the time you don't even know.
Very individualistic.
Most of the time, if anyone that's watching and listening to us, do you know your neighbor? Do you speak to your neighbor? Do you know where they're from? Do you know anything about your neighbor? And that's where we are now. We don't care to know. We don't care to associate nor to communicate with our neighbors, and that's what you're talking about.
Right.
Is that we're not communicable anymore. We just existing. That's not. I guess you would call it existing. What about the politics now?
Well, the mayor's race is coming up, and we got at least five, top candidates. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, and you got Senator John Whitmire.
Yeah, his signs are already up.
Yeah, and you got Gilbert Garcia.
You better get busy.
And you got
till the last minute, honey.
Amanda Edwards. She's a very
she's up there too. Mm-hmm.
Nice young lady, and been on city council.
Right.
Straightforward. So it's going to be a very, very interesting race. And right now, the polling is saying that it's between Sheila and Whitmire. Mm-hmm. That if the race were held today, the election were held today,
it would be Whitmire and Sheila.
Yeah, it would be a runoff situation between the two of them, and Gilbert Garcia comes in third place.
Yeah, Garcia been before us for many years.
Yeah, right.
The name Garcia, anyway.
Well, the good thing about it is, those of you who are not registered to vote, you need to go register.
Tell them.
And vote.
Them to go register.
And it's important to vote because the foundational principle of democracy
in this country
especially, is voting, your voting rights. And too many individuals have died and been beaten and been persecuted and scorned and killed, and really abused for the right, the universal right for you to vote. Right. And it's a shame and a disgrace if you don't go and register and vote. No one has the right to tell you who to vote for, but at least you ought to go vote and vote your God conscience. Vote your conscience in terms of what you think and believe in your heart or your own mind is in the best interest of the city of Houston.
That's right.
Of everyone, not just of a particular segment of the society.
Yes.
But what's best for the city in general.
And especially the one, my mind is on keeping these streets and these gutters and
neighborhoods free of these dogs running wild.
That's what's on my mind. Who's gonna keep that down? Clean streets and keep potholes filled.
Keep the crime down.
Keep the crime down. You can't even go out anymore. You're afraid to go out. You're gonna be back home by 10 at least. And so it's kind of
10. You mean to be back home time to get dark?
Yeah. Well, true. And by the time it get dark, it's about that time to come
on in.
About 8 o'clock, you ought to be back home.
Yeah.
But for real, let's get a mindset that we must vote. You got to get a mindset. I'm speaking especially not necessarily the ones that are elderly like me, but I'm speaking of the ones that are younger, way younger. Y'all go vote. Stop staying at home and doing your thing on your phone and on your Facebook and
your
Twitter,
iPad and all of that.
All those other things. If you are going to use them for the good of telling people to go vote and showing them that you are voting. I might not be as good as you all, but I know that y'all young ladies and young men, You use your phone to do a lot of everything. So use your phone and show your friends that you are in line to vote. That would be a good thing. So we can get all our thoughts and together doing the things we need to do, the things that should be done, and you all have the know-how. So let's get the things together to put the people in office that we know that we want to do the good things for not only our communities, but especially the black communities, but for the whole of the country. Wherever you are and wherever you're listening to us or looking at us, go vote. Please do. Thank God for the family. Thank God for you. And we thank God that He is among UHN.
Well, I know that's
we're doing a God thing here, and we look forward to having you to be a part of that. Thank you for being with UHN, the voice of Houston. You'll see you next time.
No, because we know that all things, all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and who are called according to His purpose. And unfortunately today we got too many people who seemingly have been called to the purpose of the devil.
Amen.
They are creating more confusion and violence and discord than the law allow for.
Yes, true.
And thank God it seems as though President Donald J. Trump will be held accountable for his attempt to overthrow
the
United States governmental democratic system and install a white autocratic dictatorial system. And America has never been
and never will be
a white society.
Yes, that's not going to happen.
If you wanted a white society, you should have stayed in Europe, in England or France or Germany or whatever one of the countries, European, those white countries that your ancestors came from. When you came here, there were people of color living here.
Exactly.
Occupying, living here as inhabitants of this country. And so you didn't discover America.
It was already here.
You came and conquered and occupied America. And unfortunately, the original people that was here, you done almost wiped them out.
Exactly right. And that's
almost extinct them.
And they're trying to do the same for
as
us,
a population.
And stop killing each other, black people. Stop shooting and killing one another. There's nothing wrong with just sitting down and talking things out.
Well, I tell you what, it's one thing you ought to know. You don't have to kill anybody. All you have to do is wait. They're going to die anyway.
True. We all got to die.
It's like you're going to die.
But we all should be able to talk and communicate without shooting each other and stabbing one another, running over each other, and all that craziness.
Because violence is not the answer.
No, God is our only answer.
God is the answer.
Our only answer. And I pray and hope that we all will understand who is really in control and in charge of not only this country, but the whole world. And he has a Hebrew name by the name of Yahweh Shai, got a Jehovah, got all kinds of names for him, but he's still the main one. Now you be sure you keep your paper in your car. We love you. God loves you. See you next time. Bye-bye. Well, you know,